Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into 14 fascinating cinema facts that you might not know, facts straight from behind the scenes of some of your favorite films. These little-known secrets will surprise you, shock you, and even get you excited about the movies we all love. From the hidden rules about iPhones in Hollywood to some unbelievable stories about iconic actors and movies. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let's get started. 14. The Secret of iPhones in Hollywood Cinema. Rian Johnson, the writer and director of the hit film Knives Out, revealed something interesting in an interview. Apple allows filmmakers to use iPhones in their movies, but they never let the villain in your story have one. For example, in Knives Out, if you pay attention, the characters you suspect might be behind the murder never hold an iPhone throughout the film. 13. Tarantinos Genius in Pulp Fiction. One of the most iconic scenes in cinema is when Vincent, played by John Travolta, injects adrenaline directly into Mia's heart after a drugs overdose. Here's an interesting fact. John Travolta is actually doing the opposite of what you see in the movie. His hand was originally down before being reversed in editing to minimize the risk of injury on set. And after this iconic moment, one of the most memorable lines in cinema is spoken.
Say something.
Something.
12. Who dared not to give Anthony Hopkins an Oscar? Anthony Hopkins plays one of the most chilling characters in The Silence of the Lambs, the brilliant, cannibalistic psychiatrist.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
What's fascinating is that Hopkins won the Best Actor Oscar for just 16 minutes of screen time. His performance was so powerful in those minutes that the Academy had no choice but to award him the Oscar. 11. The shortest speech in Oscar history. Many people mistakenly think that Joe Pesci's speech is the shortest in Oscar history. However, the shortest speech belongs to Alfred Hitchcock. When he won his Oscar, he simply went up to the microphone and said, "Thank you." 10. Sam Worthington's comeback. Before Avatar, Sam Worthington was in his 30s and mostly being offered minor roles. He couldn't even afford his living expenses anymore, so he sold most of his possessions, bought a car, and had to live in it. His luck changed when James Cameron decided to cast him in Avatar, completely turning his life around. 9. Breaking Bad in real life. While Breaking Bad isn't based on a true story, it's interesting to note that in 2009, a 74-year-old math teacher was arrested for producing methamphetamine. In 2012, a chemistry teacher was arrested for the same crime. And in 2013, a drug manufacturer named Walter White was arrested, claiming he had never seen the Breaking Bad show. 8. A bet on Interstellar with Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, together with the scientists from the movie Interstellar, Kip Thorne, whose work was focused on increasing the scientific accuracy and realism in the film, made a bet regarding the depiction of black holes. Thorne, being very meticulous about the scientific detail, bet that the visualization of the black hole in the movie was not accurate. At the time the film was released in 2014, humanity had never actually seen a real black hole. However, just a few years later in 2019, scientists were able to capture the first ever image of a real black hole. Interestingly, the black hole in Interstellar looked remarkably similar to the real one, demonstrating the scientific accuracy and attention to detail that director Christopher Nolan demanded. In the end, Stephen Hawking lost the bet. 7. Leonardo DiCaprio's serious injury in Django Unchained. In one of the memorable scenes from Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino's film, Leonardo DiCaprio, playing the villain of the story, slams his fist on the table in anger. In doing so, he accidentally places his hand on a glass, causing it to shatter. The bleeding from his hand was real, and this was not scripted. In that moment, his hand was cut, and if you watch closely, you'll see that he initially tries to hide it behind his back. However, he then decides to incorporate it into his performance. Tarantino made a decision to film two versions of the scene, one with the blood cleaned up and another with the blood still there, so they could later decide which version to use. The moment where DiCaprio smears his bloodied hand across Kerry Washington's face was filmed with the real blood. After this event, it was decided to keep the blood in the scene, and it became a memorable part of the film. DiCaprio later said that the reactions of the cast when they saw his hand covered in blood were unforgettable. Jamie Foxx was shocked, and Tarantino, who was behind the camera, came out from behind the lens with one eye wide open in disbelief. 6. Viggo Mortensen's injury in The Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen in The Lord of the Rings was very insistent on doing all of his own stunts. But interestingly, he got injured in a scene where there was absolutely no need for a stunt double. Peter Jackson recalls, "I asked Viggo in this scene to hit his helmet in a way that it would fly towards the camera lens. The first time they filmed it, it didn't go well. The second time, still no good. But by the fourth take, Viggo did it in such a way that Jackson said, it was perfect. It felt real." Suddenly, Viggo let out a scream and fell to his knee. Jackson thought it was part of the performance, but it turned out the scream wasn't from anger, it was from pain. In that moment, 2 of Viggo's toes were broken, but he didn't call for a cut. He continued acting through the pain, incorporating that scream into his performance. That moment became iconic, and Peter Jackson said, if it had been any other actor, they would have called for a cut. But Viggo just kept going. 5. Hollywood's king of weight changes. Christian Bale. Christian Bale is an actor who takes his craft so seriously that he has put his health at serious risk by drastically altering his weight for various roles. In 2004, for the film The Machinist, he lost 29 kilograms, about 64 pounds, shedding 1/3 of his body weight to portray a man who hadn't slept in a year. He reduced his weight to just 55 kilograms, 121 pounds. Then, about 5 months later, he gained 45 kilograms, 99 pounds, for the role of Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight. In 2010, for The Fighter, he gained back the weight to 66 kilograms, 145 pounds. And in 2013, for American Hustle, he reached 103 kilograms, 227 pounds. Bale is a man who has sacrificed a lot for the cinema, but he has said that now, as he's getting older, he can't take such extreme measures anymore because if I do this again, I might die. 4. Stanley Kubrick's obsessive perfectionism. Stanley Kubrick, the legendary filmmaker, is famous for his obsessive attention to detail and the countless takes he demanded to get the perfect shot. No matter how long it took, Kubrick would repeat a scene until it was exactly as he envisioned. A famous example is the line, "Here's Johnny," from The Shining, which Jack Nicholson delivered 127 times, taking 3 days to get it right. Kubrick also broke 60 doors to achieve the exact effect he wanted. Another memorable scene where a tennis ball rolls toward Jack's character was filmed 50 times, and the scene where a man is killed with an axe was filmed 40 times. The actors even went to Kubrick and asked, "What more do you want from us? It's enough already." The scene in The Shining where blood pours out of the elevator was filmed only 3 times, but each time, cleaning the elevator took a full day, and it took 9 days to get it just right. 3 you probably don't remember, and maybe you won't even believe it. But Hannah Barty, the actor who plays the lovable Rebecca in the series Ted Lasso, which has created so many beautiful moments for us, is the same actor who played the hated character in Game of Thrones. I was shocked when I first came across this fact and couldn't believe it was the same person. I had forgotten about it, but I'll never forget the scene where Cersei was forced to walk naked through the streets, ringing her bell and saying "shame" with that devastating tone. 2. Tony Soprano's shorts. Michael Imperioli, who plays Christopher in The Sopranos, recently shared a very interesting behind-the-scenes story. He recalls one night when James Gandolfini, who played Tony, got a mysterious phone call. A man on the other end didn't introduce himself but said, "Look, we like the walk you're doing as Tony, but remember this, a mafia boss never wears shorts." Later, this line was actually used in an episode of the show.
At your house. Yeah. Don doesn't wear shorts.
1. The Netflix intro sound. You've definitely heard the iconic Netflix intro sound, right? But do you know where it comes from? It's actually the sound of Kevin Spacey's fists pounding on a desk in House of Cards. Interestingly, after the sexual assault allegations against Kevin Spacey, Netflix cut all ties with him. However, after the charges were cleared and Spacey gave an interview about the situation, he said that Netflix owes its existence to him, that he made them famous, and that they tried to bring him down. What's fascinating is that even after cutting ties with him, Netflix continues to play the sound of Spacey's fists banging on the desk at the beginning of all its products, even to this day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Catch you in the next video.